Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Majespecter Yugioh deck profile for post-Phantom Nightmare. We got some pretty awesome new support for Majespecters in the latest Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set. This set focusing on a new Link monster, a new Xyz monster / Pendulum monster, and a couple new cards for the main deck as well. It's been a while since we've had some new Majespecter support, if you're not counting the Draco Slayer card we got back during Dimension Force. That kind of counted more for the Draco Slayer lineup, but still, we did get a card that counts as a Majespecter card from that set as well. So with all this new support and with some of the more recent reprints from the Maze of Millennia booster set, I figured an update was due for the deck just for the ease to now build this with raccoons not being as expensive as they once were either. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. For the Majespecter monsters, we're running 3 copies of Majespecter Raccoon Bumbuku. All the Majespecters don't have actual pendulum effects aside from our extra deck monster. So with that, they just have the monster effects when it's normal or special summon. You can add 1 Majespecter monster from your deck to your hand. You're going to use this effect of Raccoon Bumbuku once per turn, and it cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So it's a little extra protection for your Majespecter monsters, giving them this protection ability for a good majority of them. And Bumbuku just helps because then you have that search of when it's just even normal summon to add a Majespecter monster from your deck to your hand. One of the newer monsters that we got for the deck is the new main deck monster, Majespecter Porcupine Yamarashi. During the main phase, if you control a Majespecter monster, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summon, you can target a Majespecter spell in your graveyard, set it. You can use each effect of the previous effects of Porcupine once per turn, and while this card's in your monster zone, your opponent cannot target it with card effects. Also, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So very similar to the other ones, but more you have recycle power, and then just an easy special summon method to get another monster on the field to then go for your Link 2 Majespecter Orthrus new for its summon, and then being able to recycle some of our other Majespecter spells like the new Majespecter Wind also help with that setup. And then our other 3 of is 3 copies of Majespecter Crow Yada. When it's normal or special summon, you can add 1 Majespecter spell from your deck to your hand. You can use this effect of Crow Yada once per turn. It cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So with this card having search power for our Majespecter spells, which we have the new Majespecter Wind, as I mentioned before, is just a faster way to get it to our hand thanks to Crow Yada. And then some of the one-ofs like Majespecter Cyclone, or even just that setup for those cards to be used against our opponent depending on the summon we want to go for. Remember, Majesty's Pegasus is a field spell that doesn't have Majespecter in its name, so we can't search it off of Yada. And then also 2 copies of Majespecter Toad Ogama. When it's normal or special summon, you can set 1 Majespecter spell or trap directly from your deck, but it cannot activate this turn. You can only use this effect once per turn. So with this, you can grab your Majespecter traps because they can't be activated the turn they're set anyway, but still another good setup thanks to Ogama to grab those cards to at least then be able to use the following turn. And then for the one-ofs for the Majespecters, 1 copy of Nekomata and the 1 copy of Kyubi. Kyubi having another trap search, and Nekomata being able to add 1 Majespecter card from your deck to your hand during the end phase of the turn. So this card has to be normal summon or special summon, and then you'll get the search at the end. But their one-ofs are a little more situational. You have better setup with cards like Ogama, and then spell search, and then just generic recycle thanks to cards like Yamarashi, where these cards are a little more specific. For some of the other Pendulum support, I run 2 copies of Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer, and 1 copy of Master Pendulum, the Draco Slayer. So we have access to some Synchro Infusion plays in the deck as well, using these cards, and then also being able to have some destruction power thanks to Master Pendulum, the Draco Slayer. And then also the 3 copies of Majesty Pegasus, the Draco Slayer. This card counts as a Majespecter card. Quick effect, you can discard this card for the rest of this turn. Your opponent cannot target Draco Slayer monsters you control with card effects. Also, they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. And if it's special summoned by the effect of a Draco Slayer card or Pendulum summon, you can add 1 field spell from your deck to your hand and discard 1 card. So this card can grab our Majesty's Pegasus, but we're also running in the deck Secret Village of the Spellcasters. So then we have search options for all of these cards thanks to this one. And if you have a Majespecter card in your other Pendulum zone, you can add 1 Draco Slayer Pendulum monster with a different original name than that card from your deck to your hand. So then search power once again for our other Draco Slayer cards that we run. And then for the hand trap lineup, 3 copies of Effect Veiler and 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Didn't want to run too many. We do have these, but that's about it for the hand trap. So we have enough room in the deck for the good majority of our pendulum plays that we want to go for. And then that's it for the main deck monsters. Moving on now to the spells, running 3 copies of Majespecter Win. For this quick play spell, when you activate this card, you can also tribute 1 Win spellcaster monster, special summon 1 Majespecter monster from your hand or graveyard. If you tributed a monster as activation, you can special summon 1 Majespecter monster from your deck instead. You can only activate 1 Majespecter Win per turn. So it gives you the option to basically go for the tribute. Otherwise, you're just special summoning from the hand or graveyard. But if you tribute 1, then you can grab 1 from the deck, giving you wide variety of access to any of the other Majespecter cards you need. So you can then just continue your search and set up the ones you attributed, since they are on the field, into the extra deck for you to pendulum summon back. And also the 1 copy of Majesty's Pegasus and the 1 copy of Majespecter Cyclone. With the Majesty's Pegasus, all Majespecter monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. You can tribute 1 Win spellcaster monster to special summon 1 level 4 or lower Majespecter monster from your deck. You can use this effect of Pegasus once per turn. So more setup thanks to the field spell and Majespecter Cyclone being able to tribute a Win spellcaster to target a monster your opponent controls and destroy it. And then you have the recycle power thanks to cards like Yamarashi, and setup thanks to cards like Ogama with all these different cards also. And also 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity, just so we can search out the specific cards we need, with being able to banish a good variety of the generic cards in our extra deck to use for this card's cost. With the last of the one-ofs being 1 copy of Secret Village of the Spellcaster, another searchable card with our Draco Slayer Majesty, the 1 Call by the Grave, and the 1 Terraforming. Just if we don't have our monsters, it helps to thin out the deck a little more and search for either one of the particular field spells that we run. For the traps, we're running just a small trap lineup that consists of Majespecter Supercell. While you have a Majespecter card in your pendulum zone, the activation of their effects and other cards on your side of the field cannot be negated. And once per turn, you can target 5 Majespecter cards in your graveyard, shuffle all 5 into the deck to draw 1 card. So just recycle power once again, with cards like Majespecter Tornado being able to target a monster your opponent controls and banish it. The 1 copy of Tempest for our counter trap to stop a special summon or a monster effect. And then lastly, the 1 Gozen match. Since we do run a majority of Win monsters, it can help just to lock down any of our opponent's plays. And now moving on to the extra deck for the Xyz monsters, I have 1 copy of Majespecter Draco Ryu. If you wanted to run a second copy, you can just drop out the barricade board blocker that I have in the Link monster lineup. With this card, if you have a Majespecter or Draco Slayer card in your other pendulum zone, you can add 1 Majespecter card from your deck to your hand, then you can destroy 1 card in your pendulum zone. You can use this effect of Draco Ryu once per turn. It needs 2 level 4 monsters, and if you can pendulum summon level 4, you can pendulum summon this card face up from your extra deck. If a monster is tributed while this card's on the field, except during the damage step, you can detach 1 from this card to special summon 1 level 6 or lower Win spellcaster monster from your deck. You can use this effect of Draco Ryu up to twice per turn. And if this card in the monster zone is destroyed by battle or a card effect, you can place it in the pendulum zone, setting you up for the pendulum scale, but giving us a rank 4 monster that can just be summoned back onto the field as a pendulum summon makes it a great resource to use after you Xyz summon into it. And then also being able to have this card, if a monster is tributed while this card's on the field, except during the damage step, using the tribute play for our spell that we run, Majespecter Wind. I also run the 1 copy of Magister Paladin for more of the search and setup for our pendulum monsters during the end phase, the 1 Baguska, and then the 1 Zeus and the 1 Starslayer Typhon for added Xyz plays to go into. For our Link monsters, I run 2 copies of the new Majespecter Orthrus New, needing 2 pendulum monsters, including a Majespecter monster. If it's Link summon, you can add up to 2 face-up Majespecter pendulum monsters from your extra deck to your hand. Then you can add up to 2 Majespecter pendulum monsters with different names from your deck to your face-up extra deck. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except for Majespecter or Draco Slayer monsters. And you can only use this effect once per turn. But new helps to cycle out the different Majespecter cards for new ones in your extra deck for you then just to pendulum summon out, adding the 2 back from your extra deck to your hand for you to use as your pendulum scales. And then for the other Link monsters, 1 Beyond the Pendulum, 1 Exceed the Pendulum, 1 SP Little Knight, and the 1 Barricade Board Blocker, which I said before you can substitute for a second copy of Ryu if you wish. And then the higher Link monsters are the 1 Apollosa and the 1 Access Code Talker for more bigger boss monsters to also make use of. And then for the rest of the extra deck, the 1 copy of Draco Slayer Power, the Mighty Draco Slayer, and the 1 copy of Ignister Prominence, the Blasting Draco Slayer, for our Synchro and Fusion plays respectively, with our tuner monsters being the Draco Slayer monsters that we use in the deck. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, what I really like is the Bumbuku setup you can get for your initial play. Just using Bumbuku, when you normal summon this card out, you can search out your Majespecter monster, so then you can add your Majespecter Porcupine Yamarashi to your hand. And then if you control a Majespecter monster, quick effect, you can special summon Yamarashi onto the field. Then you can target a Majespecter spell in your graveyard if it was there, but if it's not, you have your 2 monsters needed for your Link summon using the 2, which then they'll go to the extra deck to summon out your Majespecter New. And then with this card, when it's Link summon, you can add 2 face-up Majespecter monsters from your extra deck to your hand, which will add the Yamarashi and the Bumbuku back to your hand, and then place 2 Majespecter Pendulums with different names from your deck into your extra deck face up. So then you can add the Kyubi and also the Yada, or you can add the Ogama, whichever of the 2 you want to your extra deck. So this one you can add the Yada and the Ogama. Then you can set the scale with your Bumbuku, which is a scale 5, and then also your scale 2 Yamarashi. Pendulum summoning the 2 we added to the extra deck to the field. Then we can use both of their effects, Yada to add the needed spell, which we can add Majespecter Wind, and Ogama can set up a trap on the field. So then we have those plays, with this being able to use this turn if we wished for the tribute to get out another Majespecter, which you can activate Wind, tributing out the Ogama or one of the other ones to summon Kyubi. Then Kyubi can add a Majespecter trap. Having the 1 set up, then we can add 1 more to our hand, and then with that we can overlay the 2 together into our new Majespecter Draco Ryu on the field, giving us these 2 monsters and then the 2 trap setup that we have on the field as well. Very, very easy play, all just from 1 Bumbuku. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Very, very happy with the support. The deck seems a lot more fun, and even with them having their main boss monster Kieran still on the ban list, very viable to use for a fun Pendulum deck. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.